It's interesting to study the phenomenon of attitudes around dying, the afterlife, all of these things. It's very interesting to study that and to notice we have what I would call different styles or different approaches to death and dying in the afterlife. As you know, there are many, many teachings around the world about how to live a good life, what constitutes a bad life, what constitutes a good death and an afterlife, what we're supposed to aim for. There is also some belief that there's nothing when we die. This has been very interesting for me to just sort of gather all these different attitudes or styles we have around how we approach this very pivotal experience of being human. It is so important. It's fascinating for me that we don't even want to address it, we don't want to talk about it. As you may know, I do want to talk about it. And here's what I've sort of broken it down into about 4 different styles or ways that we tend to approach death, dying, and the afterlife. The first style or approach is what I call a basic style. It's just your basic approach to what happens when we die or how I'm supposed to look at death. And I break it down even further. The first one is basic avoidance. We put the blinders on and we say, nah, I'm not talking about that. Why should I talk about that? I'm going to live forever. Nope. The subject is off the table. This is when we hear that phrase, it's so morbid. Interesting, isn't it? That something that is key to our experience as being humans, key part of life, is considered to be morbid. We understand sometimes death isn't that much fun to deal with. But nonetheless, just because it's part of our main human experience, we need to look at it. So anyway, we have the basic blinder style. We don't want to look at it. And it's kind of funny when we think about it. Along with that, we may have sort of a real basic religious approach to death and dying. Well, I don't know, but okay, I'll believe in Jesus or Muhammad or Buddha or Moses or whoever might help me when I'm crossing, but haven't really done any study on it. But my parents kind of liked it, so I'll lean into that. Kind of an oops experience, like oops, I wasn't ready, but I'll lean into whatever I grew up with or whatever I heard or learned about reading or Sunday school or something. Another basic approach is kind of what I call zealot. We become zealots for a cause. We become righteous for what it is that we believe in. And if that leads to our death, so be it. We go out in a blaze of glory. It's very simple. I do the right thing according to my beliefs, and I do it right, and I'll be rewarded in the afterlife. There's a lot of judgment with that one, isn't there? It's kind of hard, kind of harsh. Another problem that I've seen, another basic problem or approach, is we can get so wrapped up in addictions or resentments or depression or sort of the negative parts of being human that it really interferes with us living a good life, and it really interferes with our dying. We may talk about that more in a later video, but I call that basic stuck style. We're kind of stuck. We're repeating patterns of resentment and misunderstanding, and even when we die, we don't even want to get on with it. We kind of hang around, so we get stuck. Those are some of the basic attitudes towards death that I've been aware of. If we move on from the basic attitude toward dying, some of these really simplistic ways of approaching death, we might find that we're what I would call more traditional. We're more traditional in our approach. This might include a traditional religious base. in which you have done training, in which you find comfort, in which perhaps your family was a part of it. So it's very comfortable for you. Or you might have come from a tradition of sort of an intellectual approach to life. So we call it traditional intellectual approach, where maybe more of a scientific approach, and you say, I need proof. And then I'll know. I need rational proof. Sometimes we enter the intellectual tradition because we're turned off by religion. We're turned off by all that has happened on our planet around religious wounding. And so we've moved into our minds and we're more comfortable with that. These are more traditional ways of approaching death. They have a background of tradition behind them. We feel some comfort in them. We still don't particularly know what might happen, but we have an idea about how to die and what might happen when we do.